sugar sweet. You got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion, just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat. Tested by the motion, loving this devotion. Live it up, sweet emotion. Every time, every night, you and I on a roll. Switch it up where I'm going. Stay on the fly just in time, know the right way to go. I'm on the road, it's my time, taking control of my life. I want to run the red lights, I've got to run this show. You always take me so high, you always make the highlights. I love the way we vibe, you're like a centerfold. Ooh, that sugar sweet, you got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion, just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat, tested by the motion, loving this devotion. Ooh, that sugar. All I want is satisfaction. Make a move, baby, you got nothing to lose. Give me that good reaction. Gonna make it right, little like an offer I can't refuse. I'm on the road, it's my time, taking control of my life. I want to run the red lights, I've got to run this show. You always take me so high, you always make the highlights. I love the way we vibe, you're like a centerfold. Ooh, that sugar sweet, you got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion, just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat, tested by the motion, loving this devotion. Ooh, that sugar
Good morning. Morning, folks. Hope you are well. Morning, Silva. Morning, Martin. CAD Yen was a good call yesterday. CAD Yen. What do we say about CAD Yen? Shorts, were we? Did you take the trade? I can't remember what I said about CAD Yen. Or were you talking about the trade? Oh, here, weren't we? 15 minute. This is what we're talking about, CAD Yen, right? You're set up here for shorts. Well, if you got in on that, brilliant, mate. Was that your entry here? This bar. And it came back a little bit and then moved to the downside. Morning, Martin. Almost midnight in Vegas, but like we say here, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, so cheers. It's a good attitude, mate. CAD Yen, well done, Silver. Let's go through. Still looking to short it on the daily. Yeah, still with trend, right? Still with trend. Still with trend. Your quasi evening star pattern with a gap here. Increasing volume as that pattern progresses. Could see an entry in there if you're looking to short it. CAD Yen to the downside. I still don't like it, I'll be honest with you, I still don't like the chart, but if you're the one that's looking at every day, that's obviously a slightly different, isn't it? So, CAD Yen shorts, yeah. Could see that happening, Right, so yesterday was quite interesting. We see with this volatility that came with Powell speaking. I think the markets originally thought, this is why I always wait for the reaction, market's reaction to the news rather than the news itself, or the speech in this case. So came up, came down, and we pushed back up again. I think it seems to have given investors a little bit of confidence that rate hikes will be easing, inflation, underlying inflation obviously reducing. So, you know, I do think this market's ready to pop. They're looking for any sign of positivity to start buying up stocks again, bit of confidence, and I think the technicals support it. You know, the technicals did look good. The daily yesterday was, you know, decent close yesterday. Another rejection of this previous resistance, potentially becoming new support at this area. Yes, we could still turn into a complex corrective, but it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. You know, your little retest or your 3 bar, is that a 3 bar? 1, 2, 3, or 4 bar retest there. Good outside bullish engulfer, a bit of volume coming in to push it to the upside, continuing with this relatively healthy trend. I like where the market is. You know, the main thing that we've seen, obviously taking away Russia, is inflation, right? Inflation is what's on everybody's lips. And ultimately, I know it's not perfect. I know there's other things to consider, but underlying inflation is reducing. And what we're expected is rate hikes will, you know, potentially start to ease this year, which is good. You know, we're getting out of it. So I'm still going to go slight risk on, purely because I'm waiting for a break of this area before I get more confident in my risk sentiment. But in terms of bias, I wouldn't be surprised if we pushed on. Maybe we need a little bit of a complex corrective, but a break above here, looking for that confirmation would be a break above the highs. You know, we break and close above there, we can see that market getting up to here, where that real decision becomes from the market comes imminent. So it's looking good, still looking good, slight risk on. Is it favoring that traditional risk sentiment of selling the Swiss and selling the yen against the Aussie Kiwi? Probably not. But in terms of risk sentiment, yeah, I think it's slight risk on, and it looks pretty good. So my trade, obviously, in that US 30, did I get a little bit of lady luck there? Although you make your own luck, right? Hexamark says USD Swiss. Yeah, I'll look at USD Swiss, mate, no worries. You know, you make your own luck. You know, I know sometimes you get some luck. Was very, very close to being stopped out on that trade, obviously on reduced risk, and we pushed on. So from a Dow Jones perspective, and I'll go into your question, Martin, you asked me in a second, it's looking pretty good. Aggressive entry. I just need a break of this area. So once it breaks this area, I can put my stop to break even. I am going to put a breakout order in this as well up here, because I like the structure as well. Now remember, with my breakout order, as I said, I will be putting this in after the stream. Up here, stop at the same position, but my anchor to my stop may change, because I'll be using my hourly as my new anchor. So if we can come down and push up here, instead of the stop being down here, I'll have a massively increased risk reward to the upside in this. So I'm just waiting for that new anchor to come. That was close. Yeah, I tell you, I woke up this morning and I thought there's no way I'm still in it. But, you know, I've had a lot of, I don't want to say bad luck. Bad luck sounds bad, but I've not had a lot of movement my way. Looking for something that just pushes me out of this drawdown and potentially, Royce? Sorry, and potentially again up into some positive movements and positive trades, and maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. So Dow Jones to the upside. Now Martin asked a good question, because he asked, let me get it up here from the Discord, yesterday, because there was something stopping you on stream to take the trade. What was the catalyst? What made you said I'm going in on this, trying to understand the mental preparation you do before entering each trade? Okay. So I knew that I liked it, right? Adrenaline rush, yeah. I knew I liked this trade. Hold on. Back to the daily. Yeah, I knew that I liked it from the whole context. You know, healthy push to the upside, healthy complex corrective in terms of our ABC. First structure, second structure, nice steady state pullback, and our catalyst on that 20, albeit the catalyst wasn't great. It's not a perfect hammer, but it's a hammer nonetheless. The only thing that, or a rejection candle nonetheless. So for an aggressive entry, for me, it was good enough. I like where the weekly is, and I like the setup. Obviously, a B-wave break for me is my favorite type of break. The only issue I had is one of my entry checklists is I have to have increasing volume. which technically, because we've got a green bar and a red bar, this didn't have. However, what I was saying yesterday is relative volume. It has been seen as an uptick. So what I did, and this is again the same thing, I always like to, if I have something like this, just go and look at it myself. So I'm not just analyze it on stream with people watching, just myself. Do I like this? Does it check everything off? Do I need to add some sort of discretion, i.e. this kind of discretion here? But remember, volume is relative to your broker. It's not coming directly from the exchange. So what I did do is I went into TradingView to check some other brokers in terms of volume, and I saw the uptick there yesterday on my catalyst. So that was kind of enough that allowed me to get into it. But again, slight discretion. Is it 100% because of this? But then you could say other brokers have a higher volume. However, I just liked it, Martin. My gut feeling, and that's always what I go with. If I like it, as long as it does basically hit my checklist, I'll take it. So I know sometimes I may be saying you've got to follow your checklist. Yes, I'm right. But sometimes there is that discretionary that you need to potentially have as you know, as you get more experienced. And with this setup for me, it was just something I wanted to get involved in. Yeah, that's essentially what it came down to. So really, I mean, really it was only this, and I just wanted to go in afterwards and say, and just have a look at this and that quick look on TradingView yesterday with that uptick. You can see it clearly there from, albeit another potential broker, got me in it. And again, that was my thought process. So in terms of brokers, yeah. So in terms of this trade, in terms of this setup, so as I said, this is looking really nice. If I zoom in a little bit so you can see it a bit better in terms of recent price action, this is great. I always like to see this prior to a breakout. Okay, potential slight fake there, not really, but if we just take it from here, your V reversal, nice steady state pullback into that 20, rejections, and we've got our bar breaking out of our steady state or slight pullback here prior to a break. So this is something that I certainly like to see. So a break up here would be really good. God, I need to get used to writing with my mouse again. Break up here would be really nice. Again, third structure, so first structure, second structure. I don't even go into it. It's all nice. It's all nice. You see the same thing 1,000 times, you know it is. Yeah, correct. Yeah. I mean, you know if you like it or not. You know, I know I like this absolutely. Whether it's going to win or not, in terms of an aggressive standpoint, we'll see. If it falls out, then it falls out. If we break through, I'll have my order triggered in, and my aggressive stop will be moved to break even. So the ideal scenario is the breakout's good, we don't come back and retest, or we don't come back and obviously fail the trade, but we essentially just go. So I've got my initial position in my aggressive entry here, and my breakout position, both moving with my first triggered. So this immediately becomes risk-free and only a 1 hour, typically a 1 hour loss on the table, if that makes sense. The only thing with this account, my other accounts I've got my normal risk on, but with this, obviously I've only got 1,000, I say only got 1,000, but I've got $1,000 on it rather than 3-5 because I've been into that drawdown. However, like I said before, we've just got to take our medicine, and hopefully if I do get what I want, i.e. this does do what I wanted to do and break out and hopefully have a good movement, you know, a good couple of days of price action like this, that'll get me back into the 160s, and I can start again ramping up my risk and going for that 175 and then the next scale. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. Your year can change just like that in one trade, as mine did with last year with EU. You never know when that big trade is coming. So Dow Jones I like. Another thing I do like today is Pound Aussie. Pushment, yeah. I forgot about that, Silver. Pushment. Some pushment to the upside. Pound Aussie. Pushment, yeah. I completely forgot about that. So pound Aussie, I was looking on the 30-minute in terms of this V reversal, breaking through this area. I like where higher time frames are. We can see that break that we've had, currently in its retest phase. So let me zoom in a little bit. Pound Aussie short, buying the Aussie in terms of where we are right now is in terms of risk sentiment something that I agree with. So if we get the retest that we like, remember I need 5 to 15 bars here, minimum 5, maximum 15 bars for my retest. If we get the retest, complex corrective or steady state that I need, catalyst, increase in volume to go down, I will certainly look at pound Aussie to the downside. It's quite good on the daily, it's quite good on the weekly. Right, in terms of movement here, we've obviously had this push that seems to be failing from a pound Aussie perspective in coming down, and you know, I think path of least resistance here is to the downside. Daily as well, very similar. The only question mark I have over it is this 4 hour. So are we going to get some, which we may be having right now, some resistance at this area that potentially we can look at a 4 hour aggressive entry or 4 hour break later on if price action does continue how I want it to continue. But that would be my worry, is if we push on from here at this area as we have done before, which negates that setup on the 30-minute chart. But it's something I do like, pound Aussie to the downside, and I'll just be watching on that retest. If I don't get it, I don't get it. That's absolutely fine. I'll be perfectly happy with my Dow Jones position. And again, as Silver said, hope reaches a pushment to the upside. So let me just go through, in case anybody's new that doesn't understand what I mean by my my new trade management. So after the stream, because I have to go and figure out my position size. If anybody has a good index position size calculator, send it through, because I always do indexes in gold manually. Anyway, so right now I'll put my order in here with a 7864 stop. Right, the reason being, if it breaks without an hourly anchor, then that's fine. I'm just in it from my normal previous stop location, because we haven't got an anchor on the 1 hour chart. So I'll continue to watch price action. Now, if price action changes, and as I said, which it's likely to happen if it pushes through, I get a new anchor on this hourly chart. Right, so the breakout will be roughly, let me get the price here. Breakout roughly 34.35, right? So 34.35, which is somewhere up here, 34. So this will be roughly my breakout. So you can see the massive difference in that new trade management, right? From this original stop being here. If we get a push through, that's my new anchor. Right, my stop becomes, instead of, what is it, instead of 7.5, whatever it is, 7.7627, it becomes 3.094, right? So a massive difference, which technically should double my ROI at the end of the year. I haven't experienced the nice 16 or 15% trades yet, unfortunately, after I've employing it, but that's the idea. It shouldn't have. It's not affected my win rate as much in terms of my testing, the forward testing that I did and back testing. But yeah, that's what I'm doing now essentially. This is what I use for Bitcoin, 500 US 30 DXY. Just make sure you adjust the contract size per pair. Okay, I send it through, Martin. As I said, that's maybe it's a blank in my knowledge, but I always use my FX book for FX, but it's not reliable for gold. I don't think it has indices. So normally I just do my 0.01 and work it out from there manually, which is not something I want to do. I just haven't found a good indices and commodities position size calculator for some reason. But I know there must be one out there. I'm set in my ways, I guess. Right, anything else you want me to look at? Oh, Aussie dollar. I did have Aussie dollar. We talked about this. Aussie dollar, we talked about this yesterday, didn't we? From that larger V reversal. not really pertinent for today. I didn't go into the dollar index as well. So from a weekly or daily perspective, obviously looking for some kind of entry on a pullback here in Aussie dollar, if indeed we get that, breaking to the upside, something like this. Aggressive entry in here, breakout to the upside. Got a bit of time to go before that sets up, so I'm not going to go into that today. But Aussie dollar potential longs if it does pull back a wee bit more. Right, let's have a look at the dollar index. I don't think I talked about that today. So dollar index. Dollar index. I don't know. I don't know. Dollar index, I've still got to say weekly pullback. I know we're coming off here in the 4 hour. Maybe if price action looks a little bit leaky, a little bit like it's fallen off a cliff, then we could potentially change that bias. We've got to consider this, albeit price action isn't very nice, right? Impulse getting a little bit like that, which I don't really like. But we've still got to consider this a pullback for continuation in terms of recent trend. I know the primary trend, the overall trend is down, but we can't discount what we did see on the weekly. I think London opening up today will be interesting. Saw last year dollar falling as indexes did rise in terms of that risk sentiment, acting as that inflation hedge. So yeah, I would still have to, again, there's so many things you can think about fundamentally with the dollar right now. I got to just stick to that technicals and what I know and say that weekly does look like it continues as a pullback. If it massively changes this week, obviously we can change our bias, but it's in a difficult position to probably predict that dollar right now. So I'm waiting till I'm a bit more comfortable saying dollar long and dollar short, and namely dollar short. But just yeah, I just have to go with that weekly in the dollar and say I think it does pull back a little bit more before pull back before potentially continuing down. Another Fed chair speaks today. Let's have a look. Look at the news today. You guys want me to start looking at like gold and stuff? Some typical pairs that people usually like. Oh, sorry, Hexa, you asked for USD Swiss. I'll do USD Swiss as well. Sorry, mate. Get rid of all the shite here. Give me the important ones. Who's speaking today? Martin, is he important, man? Federal Waller. Sounds like a cartoon character. Yeah, maybe. I don't know if it moves the market massively, but yeah, you could be right. USD Swiss. So in terms of main news, again, I usually just look at this. I put my three in, see what's happening today. This is obviously in terms of my time +4, whatever. Let's have a look for this week. Big day on Friday for the pound. Euro, CAD. Okay, anyway, let's go into USD Swiss. USD Swiss for Hexa markets. Again, if there's anything you want me to look at, put it in the chat, and I will. Again, another one like the US index, you know. Got some rejections here on the weekly. Obviously, your theoretical hammer bars on the weekly. Sometimes when you get a hammer, you do get a slight pullback into that body before it continues up. Daily perspective. Daily perspective ain't very nice either in terms of price action. I mean, really, is that really nice? Maybe from there it's okay, but push, reversal back in. Can't really make sense of that daily right now, to be honest. 4 hour. Maybe we're creating something like this. I wouldn't mind it then for counter trend longs. I don't particularly like this bar. From this push to the upside. Would put a question mark, you know, from me on that for trend continuation. I never really want to see that from a pullback perspective or a trend continuation perspective. You kind of want to see pullbacks like this, right? So yeah, maybe if you get something a little bit more like this, I wouldn't mind that for counter trend longs from that weekly confluence. You know, you get that above that 220 here. That might not be too bad in terms of USD Swiss. Looking at it short, personally, I wouldn't be looking at it short right now. Needs to digest that mess. You know, we have come from a decent move or a very good move to the downside. You know, do we expect this to go again? I probably don't. But maybe I'm wrong. I probably don't, but maybe I'm wrong. So counter trend longs on the dollar. Looking at, you know, longer term shorts on USD Swiss. Yeah, that would maybe make sense, but right now in terms of smaller time frames, you break underneath here might look good, but I don't like that chart. I just don't like the chart. I think there's better charts out there. For me, personally. For me. Right, guys, anything else? Anything else? Anything else? Just an update on simplicity again. I should be... I know I've said this so many times. Actually, you know what? I'll just wait. I'll wait until you'll get the message on the Discord. Again, for anyone who's watching that's new, I haven't got the Discord link, or not putting it up just yet until we finalize that. But, yeah. It is what it is. Nothing. Alright guys, I appreciate you joining as always. Make sure you hit the like button. Have another good day. Remember to trade safe. I do think if we get some nice price action in this market, I think trading will become a little bit better. With some follow through, with some momentum. But remember, always be careful out here. We're here for the long run. And Rome wasn't built in a day. Things were destroyed in a day. We don't want to do that. All right, guys, have a great day. Trade safe. Peace.